Science is constantly changing. You're constantly getting new information. I have my formula set for the oil that I have now, but I'm also, looking into new research and what science is saying. And, maybe for future, I do slight tweaks or I change things down the line or I make the product better. The goal is to, keep moving with time and to make things evolve. If they come out with a product they scientifically tested to grow your hair, everybody's going to want to jump and, add it to whatever they have going on. But as is, the product is something I 100% believe in, but I don't think my research is ever really done. I'm also still researching because I want to expand the brand. Obviously, I want to go into shampoos, conditioners, hair masks, and all of the things. So, every day I break off some time to continue to read and to, stimulate my brain on new information because I think that the minute I stop reading and stop researching, I fall behind in a space that I want to be ahead in. My name is Summer Hope Chamblin, and I am the CEO and founder of Summer Hope Beauty. Go check out my interview with So Booking Cool.
There's so much fucking cool to listen to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool, it's Jewel B. Today's guest is determined to make an iconic mark of her own, much like her mother, June Ambrose. She is an entrepreneur, chef, content creator, soon-to-be business and management graduate, and activist. She's passionate about giving back to the community as well as the environment, and founded Summer's Treats and the new company, Summer Hope Beauty, a hair care line committed to helping people recover and reclaim their strength. She is Summer Chamblin.
Now, Summer, is it Chamblin or Chamblin?
Chamblin, actually.
Oh, Chamblin. Oh, that's even better. Yes. So, as we mentioned, you have done so much at such a really young age. But before we talk more about that, Summer, is there anything that you learned recently about entrepreneurship or something that you want to learn about?
Well, I'm currently a senior business administration major minoring in entrepreneurship at Morgan State University. I graduate in May, which is super exciting. But I more recently declared my minor last year. So I'm finally taking classes that are just like strictly entrepreneurship. So I'm definitely learning new things every day. But I grew up with parents who were both in business. So I kind of have always had the background and understanding of, how to be my own boss.
Well, first of all, congratulations. That's amazing. And would love to know how have you balanced being a student and also being an entrepreneur, being a content creator, being an activist?
It's definitely a lot. I graduated high school at 16 during COVID. So I was probably, how old was I? Yeah, I was 16, sorry. And that's when I first found out about my health issues. I suffer from severe migraines every day for the past 6 years, and I've been in treatment for it for going on 4 years now. So transitioning from, being stuck in the house during COVID, not really understanding what was going on with my body, and then deciding that I was going to go to college and kind of step away from like, the traditional path of just like continuing on with social media because I am first generation that's going to be graduating from college in my family. So it was definitely like a huge transition of deciding like, hey, like this is what I want to go and do. And I told my parents like I want to go to Morgan State, I want to be in Baltimore. And they were just kind of like, what's happening? So it was definitely a lot for me to manage, especially being a lot younger than most of the kids that I was going to school with. I think the biggest battle I faced was definitely my health more than balancing my schedule. I think that with content creation, I have the freedom to create my own schedule and figure out when I want to have classes and when I want to do content. And luckily for me, I was really only having classes twice a week. So it gave me 3 days and 5 day weekends to really figure out what content I'm going to be doing, organizing my schedule, when I'm going to be going back home to New York, when I'm going to be going to LA, and, balancing everything like that. But I think the biggest blessing with school is that you're an adult and you get to make your own schedule and you kind of let them know like what works for you. But I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't a struggle. It was definitely a lot, especially because when I first got out to school, I was in and out of the hospital a lot, trying to figure out, how to heal my body, what's really going on, and just not really getting results from any of the medications and everything that they had me on. So I didn't take time away from school, but I was absent. I wasn't fully present. And I think that my supporters noticed that I was taking some time off because my posts were really far apart. It was like, one second she's posting consistently for 8 months and then she disappears for a year and then she comes back like everything's. But I tried my best to, continue to post on stories and to, be as active as possible. But the reality for me was just like, I didn't really feel confident with myself. And, I was losing my hair and I just, I didn't feel like me. So I wasn't really into, taking a picture or promoting anything. So for me, I did take some time off of social media and I'm now slowly getting back into it now that I'm on the better end of my health journey.
Wow, Summer. Love that you shared all of that. There's so much to take away from what you just shared with us. Yeah, we're going to talk more about that. Growing up in a household with two parents who both are involved in business, firstly, did you know that what they were doing was, business and or entrepreneurship? And when would you say you really first came to understand that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Honestly, I think I've always known. Before I got into like the entrepreneurial like realm, I've always loved cooking. I started cooking and baking when I was 5 years old, and my dream was to open a restaurant. And I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to, have a restaurant in my name, and I wanted to be the chef. And I actually started my first online bakery at 10, which was my brownie company. But before that, I was selling slime and fidget spinners and a whole bunch of different weird tchotchkes in school and online. I think people knew me as my start in like entrepreneurship probably from slime. I had a slime brand called Sliminator. Um, and then obviously like the brownies. And then mom had her closet cleansing sale, which I did my little bakery stand outside for. So I feel like I've kind of known from a very, very young age that this was like the field that worked for me. I am a little stubborn, I'll admit it. I don't really like answering to other people. Um, I wanted to always be my own boss. I wanted to make my own schedule. I wanted to, be the person in control of my life. And something my dad always told me that really stuck is why go and help somebody else build their dream when you can be helping yourself build yours. And that was really, really important to me because instead of going and, helping a huge brand, get better and make more money, I could be doing it for myself and, building generational wealth and, helping my future and for my kids and grandkids and everything like that. So I definitely feel like I've always known. I wouldn't say that I necessarily understood what my parents were doing at that young age, but I did know that they had their own business, they had their own company, and I always saw them, hustling and working, and they didn't have hours. Like we would be in dinner, and like after dinner, they would go back to work until like 9, 10. Like there were really no hours. So I was like, okay, clearly they're working for themselves because, the work really never stopped.
Wow. So what do you feel then about the 9 to 5? And for those who are working a 9 to 5, but they also want to be an entrepreneur, what advice have you heard that you would pass on to someone in that situation, or what advice could you offer on your own?
I can't speak on working a 9 to 5. I've never worked. I've never worked a 9 to 5. The only other person I've technically like worked with is my mom for her company. And I've always just otherwise been self-employed. But I started my own social media page at 8 years old. So I was kind of always in the social media like area and like making money from there. I will say that social media has definitely changed. Back when I was like first getting involved, like having 10K was like a huge deal. And now it's like if you're barely touching a mill, you're kind of just like, like everyone has 100K now. So it's a little different in terms of like watching the way social media is growing. So, I would definitely say if the goal is to work a 9 to 5 and have your own company, it really is about balance. I personally don't work in terms of like my schedule.
Mhm.
It's kind of like school is my priority 100% of the time. Now that like I'm a senior and I'm almost done, prioritizing summer hope beauty and figuring all of that stuff out. But I kind of just work when I feel like it. Like sometimes I work until 3 a.m. Sometimes I'm up packing orders or dealing with web design until 5 a.m. or, it's very sporadic. So, it just depends on the day. You kind of make your own hours, but I do feel like as an entrepreneur, I work more than somebody who would work a 9 to 5. So, it's definitely a balance thing. I know people who, they go and work their 9 to 5, and then when they get off, they go and they do web design and they go and build designs for their t-shirt companies and everything like that. So it's definitely possible to balance it all. I just think that it seems a lot more overwhelming to people until you're in it. It's still overwhelming for sure, but once you're in it, you kind of understand, like, you're really in control. So you can kind of manage social media, you can manage your 9 to 5, you can manage, building a business, but all in due time, of course.
You shared some of the like the adversities, that really moving story of the migraines that you suffer with, heavily, which caused the hair loss. Um, and then even just in terms of how people measure like success, like whether or not a brand is worth paying attention to, because as you pointed out, as we know, people will look at the amount of followers and things of that nature. So, are there any other challenges that you face in entrepreneurship? And what lessons can you learn about how to overcome, adversity? How have you handled it?
I think that, with any business, you have fails. You have trial and error. One thing I didn't like, I don't think anybody likes, is failing. It was definitely something that I had to overcome. And both my parents used to tell me, like, every journey, everything is a lesson, and there's something to take out of it. So, it comes with an age thing. I started really young. So obviously, like, I would throw a tantrum if, something didn't go my way or if a business was failing. But, I think that it's really about managing your emotions. When you put so much into a brand and it doesn't do well, it hurts. I think that especially with the project that I'm working on now, like it's definitely a labor of love. It's a vulnerable experience that I went through and I'm trying to come out of still. And opening up to the world and, like, telling people my story and my journey, it's a lot. And obviously I don't want to fail, but I have to also be prepared, to not make back my initial investment right away. They say most businesses don't break even within the first year. Everything's a marketing thing. You have to be prepared, and prepare for the worst. And it's definitely a mental thing. I think I'm still learning how to overcome, because it comes with consistency. You have to be persistent even after failing. And I think that everybody is going to face that differently just based on how you process and handle, your emotions and things that you go through. But for me, it's definitely like I get overwhelmed, I get a lot of anxiety, and I have to come back to reality and just say, okay, Summer, breathe. It's going to be okay. And, we move on and we try different things, we pivot. So it's definitely, I'm still learning. So, every day I'm still growing up. I am very, very young, trying to figure everything out. And I thankfully have a support system around me so that if I do fail, like, I'm not like crying alone on the floor. Like, I have people to lean on, which is really good.
Definitely. And, it's really impressive. I think most would agree that, your journey is very impressive and, inspiring. You're a go-getter and everything. Do you think that anyone who has a passion should try to create a business around that?
I mean, absolutely. I think that, do what makes you happy. That's something that I prioritize. I got to be happy with anything that I do in life. If there's something that you want to do, only you can really, be the one to go and do it. You have to want it. And I think that, as much as you talk about wanting to do something, until you go out and do it, like, you're going to regret, you're going to have that regret. Or you're going to be like, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Like, I know so many people who were like, oh my God, I thought of that idea. And now the company is worth $1 billion. So it's like, you just have to go out and, go for it and take that risk. Obviously, easier said than done. Companies and businesses take money and they take time and they take consistency, and you have to be very devoted. But I mean, all my friends who ask me, like, hey, do you think I should do this? I say, absolutely, go for it. I love what I do. I love being my own boss and, hopefully what I'm doing will continue to, fund my lifestyle. That's the goal. Yeah.
Hey, you know? And what makes Summer Hope Beauty unique to other hair product lines? And is it even a question of wanting to be unique, or is it just more so, I want to contribute to hair wellness?
I think for me, because of the journey that I had, I never really necessarily found a product that worked for me long term. I think that your hair changes. I think the statistic is your hair changes every 10 years, but don't quote me on
Yeah,
that.
I think that is what.
Something like that. So your hair is constantly changing, your body is constantly changing. But for me, I dealt with a lot of personal things. I have eczema as well. So, I dealt with like, cracks in my scalp and, having a lot of sensitivity to product. And then on top of, dealing with the health issues that I was dealing with, for me, it was about finding a product that worked for me and how sensitive my body and skin is, and also wanting to, help other people who could be going through the same journey as me, or even just people who know people going through the same thing. I think it's very important to find a product that works for you. And a huge misconception with this brand is that it's only for curly hair, but it's actually an all-inclusive product. I actually did some videos last week with my straight hair showing people how you can use the product on any type of hair. I think that people looked at that campaign and were like, oh, a lot of curly heads is strictly for curly hair, but no, it's definitely a very all-inclusive product, all natural, all organic, no sulfates, no parabens. Like, it's very, very clean. And that's something that I was really like keen on making sure that I was doing, making sure that the product was something that everybody can use so that nobody felt left out. Because I often see, a brand be like, this is just for curls or this is just for this. And I wanted to find a product that targeted everyone so everybody felt involved. But it's mainly about, for me, the brand is mainly about, I think it was important to make sure that the product worked for me. I don't like when, you know, people go and work with a brand and they just slap their name on it, and what the product actually is isn't the best. That's something that I wasn't trying to do. I wanted to be very hands-on and very involved during the process. I've been working on this for years. I did all the research. I did all the trial and error on myself. Like, it wasn't just I went to go work with a large company and a large brand and put my name on it and I'm just selling it to my supporters. Like, this is something that I can actually speak to and a journey that I'm still going through. And I think that that's what's been grabbing people towards the product, knowing that like I fully believe in it, and so does my family.
And speaking of research, how do you know when you've done, like you said, you've been doing your research for Summer Hope Beauty for years, for some time. So how at what point do you realize, you know what, I think I've done enough research for me to like really get this going?
Honestly, I don't think I'm ever done. I think that, science is constantly changing, you're constantly getting new information. I have my formula set for the oil that I have now, but I'm also, looking into new research and what science is saying. And, maybe for future, I do slight tweaks or I change things down the line or I make the product better. The goal is to, keep moving with time and to make things evolve. If they come out with a product they scientifically tested to grow your hair, everybody's going to want to jump and, add it to whatever they have going on. But as is, the product is something I 100% believe in, but I don't think my research is ever really done. I'm also still researching because I want to expand the brand. Obviously, I want to go into shampoos, conditioners, hair masks, and all of the things. So, every day I break off some time to continue to read and to, stimulate my brain on new information, because I think that the minute I stop reading and stop researching, I fall behind in a space that I want to be ahead in. It's
Mm.
already really competitive. So, you need to be on top of it.
Yeah. So, what are some of the different ways that, in addition to research and testing things out and studying, what are the different ways that you stay on top of running your business? And are any of those ways your favorite?
I think I can tell you, for one, the one thing I stay away from is looking at what, I mean, this is controversial because some people think that you should be looking and comparing to other brands. One thing I don't do is compare myself to what other people are doing. Um, I was reading a couple comments, which you're not really supposed to pay attention to the negative, but sometimes I just want to know what people are thinking about. And I saw a comment comparing this to another brand and saying like, "Oh, this is already a really competitive space. What's making you stand out and things like that." And for me, like I just don't want to compare myself to what somebody else is doing or put down another brand. I think that the space is already really competitive. And even when I do my videos on promoting my product, you'll see me using a different brand, like another brand's shampoo or another brand's conditioner. It's not really about putting each other down in a space where we should all be celebrated. So for me, one thing I don't like to do is compare myself to another brand. I think that each brand has a unique feature, which is why they're so successful. But for me, my brand was because I couldn't find a product that worked for me long term that was successful with my hair. Um, so that's something I don't do is I don't compare, but I will say that I do constantly, go in a store and see what new products are coming out. Not necessarily the brand, but like where are we going in hair care? Are we doing hair oils? Are we doing injections? Are we doing like overnight masks? Like what's the new next hot thing? So that's kind of where I'm at in the space, not necessarily comparison, but also just making sure that I'm very self aware in the future of beauty.
Mm, all right. You obviously, even though you're still learning, as you mentioned, you've been in entrepreneurship for many years already at still a very young age. Started young, still very young. Um, but how does your own taste, like as a consumer, inform or intersect like with your business?
Honestly, I think that I like to see both sides. I
Okay.
think that, like I mentioned before, I want to only promote a product that I believe in.
Mhm.
So when creating a product, I don't necessarily look at what other people are gonna love. I look at what I'm gonna love first because if I can't speak to the product, they're like it just won't work. Like if you put a bottle in front of me and I know nothing about what it is, the content that you're gonna get from me is very like very confused. So when I went and started this company and created this product, I made sure that what I was putting out was something I love first, and then I went and tested it out with my friends and my family, and like other people in the space, professionals who do hair every day, and they were testing it out on their clients and things like that. Um, so you kind of got to, for me, it's about starting with myself because I am the customer in my eyes because it's like I'm looking for a product that work. It's I was looking for something to work for me. So I started out as like the main, test dummy. And then I switched roles and was like, as a consumer, is this something that I would buy? Is this something that I would go into a store and be like, I need this. This is going to help me. And I think that everything is really taking a shift for the better right now in terms of wanting to put clean things in your body and your hair. And I think that that's why the brand will be as successful as it's already starting to be.
Are there any misconceptions about hair oil?
I think that the biggest one is people think that they're gonna put it in their hair and have a 30-inch bust down by tomorrow. Like I just like unfortunately, like hair oil is very much about consistency. And it takes time to see the results that you want. I've been using this product for over a year and it's something that I've like even in the photos, you can see the difference in the transition in my hair. And even like I was paying attention to the comments too, and everybody like, wow, your hair looks so good. It's everything's looking great. Like, and they're kind of trying to figure out like why. And then I would like tease the bottle in a video and they're like, what's that secret sauce? And I was like, it's coming soon. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that, it's gonna work immediately and it's just not. I think that with anything, consistency is really key. But I will say with this product, if you do like just do your hair and you let it dry and then you use the oil, you will see a nice shine. You'll see a bouncier curl. So I would say this with this product, you will see some form of results in the beginning, but your hair is not going to grow in the span of using it one time. That those type of long-term results are going to take consistency. But all the short-term things that I'm saying are supposed to help, you'll see that in the product.
What are some of those short-term results that that you're talking about and that customers should even be looking out for when using Summer Hope Beauty?
For me personally, again, everybody's hair is very different. You have to understand if you have low porosity hair or high porosity hair. But for me, it's helped treat my eczema and like just any of the dermatitis, flaking, and anything going on in my head. It definitely keeps my scalp very hydrated, very moisturized. I definitely feel like I got the shine back because my hair was a little bit dull and I feel like I was having a lot of breakage. It's kind of like the same thing of like when you feel like your skin is going a little pale when you're sick or a little faint. That was kind of what I was feeling in my hair. um so it was about my hair felt stronger with every use. I feel like every time I use the product a little more than like recommended, just because I do so much content with it. Like I'm putting the product in every day, which not everyone is going to need to do. But I use the product a lot more than probably necessary. So for me, the results that I'm getting are slightly different. But yeah, I got my shine back. I definitely feel like my scalp is more hydrated. My curls look better. My roots feel stronger. My ends feel like I have less, I'm not going to say less split ends, but when I do get a trim and then I use the product, the bottom feels a lot healthier. It feels like my curls are going to go back right into a beautiful bounce. And I actually tested that when I was transitioning from straight to curly. I put my oil in and then I put it under a heat cap for 30 minutes. And then when I went in the shower, before even putting any product in it, my hair went right back to curly. And usually my hair needs a little shampoo to get like the heat like to go back. So I'm definitely seeing those type of results. But in terms of like long-term results, like the growth and just like hair strength in general, that took me a couple months. Took me maybe 3, 4 months to really see some sort of change. But again, consistency. You need to be making sure that you're trimming your hair as much as recommended, because if you have dead ends eating up at the healthy hair, you're never going to get the results that you need. And also understanding what your hair needs to be properly hydrated, because that is really, really important. A lot of people love to dry brush their hair. For me, I put the oil in and then I brush it. That way I'm preventing future breakage. So it's definitely about knowing your hair first, but that's why I've also been like responding to people in emails and messages, and they've been sending me pictures of their hair and being like, what do you think, I need help with here? And again, I'm no expert, but I can look at someone's hair and be like, okay, well, there's some things that are clear, heat damage and color damage and things like that, that I can like, give them remedies that I've used to help heal their hair.
Oh, okay. Yes. So do you massage it, right? You massage the product into the scalp,
Mhm.
right?
For me, I do my hair in sections. So I start, most of my time, my hair is parted in the middle. I put a line down the middle and then I do drops down here. And then I put some in my hand and I scrunch the bottoms. Like right now, I just got out the shower right before the Zoom. So my hair is still drying. But once it is fully dry, and if I do end up diffusing it, I'm gonna break the cast that my hair has because there's like a not necessarily like a film from the conditioner, but when you wash out the conditioner, there is like a nice dry seal. So I break my cast with a little bit of my oil. I put some in my hand, rub it together, and I just pull down like this, stretches my curls down a little bit, but also helps make sure that like my hair is properly hydrated, especially if I'm doing a diffuser, because you don't want the heat to like damage your hair long term. But if you are doing a cool setting, even better. That's what I do. I do a cool setting. I make sure my hair is fully dry, then I break the cast, and then I pick out my hair to get the volume that I need. So it
Mm.
just depends on the style. But right now, the oil is just in straight to my scalp, right down here, and at my ends.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, it looks successful. You know?
Honestly, no, this is not a good representation of like my big puffy hair, but like this is typically what my hair looks like. And even at the ends, like you can see my curls and like the little coils and the spirals. And that's just all strictly just from my oil and like my ringlets. But I also do tell people, do not look at my hair and think that your hair is gonna look like this, because hair texture matters. If you have 4C hair, you're not gonna get the 3A, 3B vibe that I have going on. So I'm not claiming that your hair is going to look like mine. And I think that that's where some people got confused, because someone messaged me and was like, hey, I use the product and my hair still looks straight. The oil can't make your hair curly. So, yeah.
What is some of your favorite feedback that you have received so far about Summer Hope Beauty?
Everything's been really, really positive. I don't think I've seen or heard anything negative as of yet, which is amazing. I think that a lot of people are saying that their hair feels a lot softer, looks a lot shinier, and just overall their scalp feels a lot healthier, which is people don't realize sometimes what's going on in their scalp, obviously, because they can't see it, but you do notice when you start to feel the difference. I just feel like overall people were saying that their hair is a lot softer, which is amazing as like a first week or two being the result.
Hmm.
So I only launched February 1st, so I'm still getting like, early results.
Absolutely. And what do you want people, I mean, aside from the obvious, but what do you want people to say Summer Hope Beauty has done for their hair journey, just like their wellness, their health, because this is was inspired by health, you could say as well.
I think that for me, the most important thing is probably someone saying to me, like, they got their confidence back because that's what it was for me. I think that in a time where I felt like my crown wasn't as high as it needed to be, having this product that kind of made me feel more confident, made me feel stronger, made me feel more beautiful. That was really, really important to me. And that was a huge pivot in my health journey, like in my mental health as well. Just knowing, like, look what it did for me, and I hope that it could do the same for other people. I think that hair is a very vulnerable journey in general. Watching your hair fall out, having breakage, or even having holes in your hair and anything of that sort, it sucks. It's emotional, it's painful, and it's confusing because you don't always understand why it's happening. So the goal for me is definitely just for somebody who may be dealing with the same thing as me, or even may not be, to come back to me and say, like, I feel really confident, I feel strong, I feel beautiful, I feel pretty, whatever the case is. But I just want everybody to love their natural hair and to love their crown, and to feel just more confident, rocking, what they were given at birth, their God-given, beautiful hair.
That's so lovely. Yes. Summer, you're really bright. Is there a story recently that you discovered, or maybe not even discovered, but read again? It can come from a book, a show, a play, an article, music, right? Because stories can be anywhere, right? We can find stories anywhere.
Sorry, well, you're asking me what story.
Yeah, and it could be a real life story or just any story recently that has resonated with you. It because it might be from a book, it might not be.
um Really great question.
Thank you.
I honestly don't think I know. I think maybe it's music. Music really speaks to me. I think that I found a couple artists that like really made me feel things. I think that music is also a very vulnerable and personal experience because sometimes you can hear a song and it just makes you cry. I have a lot of those moments. I have a lot of songs that like I hear it and immediately like there's a memory there and I just start bawling. But I think, yeah, definitely some music that I've been listening to recently. I've been really into gospel music and just music that's heavy in prayer. This is my last year and this year have been my year of like figuring out my relationship with God and where I stand within that space. And just like trying to figure out the connection that I have within like my religion. So I think that prayer music and any gospel of that sort has really, really been resonating with me lately, especially because of everything I've gone through. I do everything, knowing that God is protecting me and looking over me. And something my friends and family always tell me is, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And people are always just telling me how strong I am for everything that I'm going through. And we're still waking up every day and, continuing to fight. So I think that that type of music has really been speaking to me the most lately.
Hmm. Love that. Yes. Do you have a favorite gospel song that you would recommend?
Ooh, I'm gonna pull it up because I don't remember the name of it
Okay.
specifically.
Hmm.
It's a song by Marvin Sapp. He has his
Oh,
hands on you. I absolutely love it. I found it on Instagram when I was going to post something and I was looking for prayer music and that song came up and I listened to it probably anytime I'm in the car and driving somewhere. That's the song I have on at least once.
I'm sorry, I was talking. What's the name of the Marvin Sapp song?
It's He Has His Hands on You.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of like a live version. Like you can hear him like preaching in the background. I really, really love it.
Oh, yeah, I like when they do stuff. I like when that's done.
Yeah.
Like he's talking, preaching, but then it's also musical, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Would you ever get involved in music at all? Profession like business wise?
Business wise, I think that I'm not closed off to entering any space, honestly.
Yes. And why
One day,
is that?
I don't like to be put in a box. I'm everywhere. My brain is everywhere. I think that people see that between me and my mom. We're both Geminis, and we're both just like very like, big spirit, very like bubbly. People look at me all the time and they're just like, I just know in your head you're thinking about rainbows and sunshine. I just dance around in circles. I'm just such a free spirit. Um, so I don't like being put in a box. I love, having the ability to be in any space and to, one day I'm in beauty and the next day I could be in film. Like I just like to pivot and I'm so young and there's so many things that I want to experience and you only get one life and I just want to live it. You only get one life in this body. So I just want to live it to the best of my ability and just not be closed off to anything because, I just think that there's so many things to do in life. So I'm just very open.
And on that note, Summer Chamblin. Yes, Summer. Thank you so much for talking to So Booking Cool today. Loved having you. Would love to talk with you again.
Thank
And
you for having me.
oh, you're very welcome. Yes, it was a pleasure. And let everyone know the best ways that they can keep up with you, Summer Hope Beauty, and anything else that we should be on the lookout for, but definitely Summer Hope Beauty.
All of my platforms, for the most part, are Summer Hope Chamblin, and then Summer Hope Beauty's page is literally Summer Hope Beauty, and you can find the product at www.summerhopebeauty.com. And then you can find anything related to me at summerchamblin.com.
Guys, make sure you check it out.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you as well. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners. Until next time, so booking cool. Summer is so booking cool.